Does anybody know why they filmed these episodes out of order? It's just confusing sometimes. Every time I see it, just going, oh, this will be the last time they have let, but no, it continues further on into the season. So here we are, season 3, disc 1, episode 149, The Swarm. If you haven't watched these others, please watch these others. There is no captain's voiceover. However, there is a helmsman log to start the day off. Oh, and welcome to the Dealer's book series. I'm Christina, by the way. And this is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music. I'm a series person. I like to binge series. Please go watch Star Trek Next Generation recaps and continue with Star Trek Voyager recaps every single Friday. And then check out If Then later this afternoon. So here we are. I wish there was a way that I could just just let it play out and talk about it as it plays, but obviously we can't do that. So hold on. So it's one of those, you know, logs. So if there's a log, you got to be outside and you got to be seeing the ship. I don't know how much you can see, but it's right there. Helmsman log 50252.3. While Voyager takes on supplies, Lieutenant Torres and I are investigating some intermittent sensor readings we picked up this morning. And how often, those of you who are so Star Trek oriented that know everything, how often does a non-main character give an update or a log? Let me know in the comments if you're still here. My analytics say you went a long time ago. Huh? I was wrong. It's not any Helms person. It's Paris. The script doesn't say Paris. It says Helmsman. We've been out here almost 5 hours. We haven't seen any signs of those energy signatures. Isn't it time to admit they were nothing more than a galactic background noise? Paris says, I want to keep looking a while longer just to be sure. Ah, what's wrong? She gets a leg cramp. Klingon bodies weren't meant to sit in a cockpit for 5 hours at a stretch. You have big dinner date or something? What's that supposed to mean? Well, you've been angling to get back to Voyager for about 2 hours now. Just thought maybe there was a reason, like Ensign Bristow. What? Oh, I've noticed he's been making an excuse to hang around engineering around you. Freddie Bristow is a child. Oh, really? He looks like a grown-up to me. He's tall, good-looking, and I hear he plays a mean set of Parisi squares. I played with him once, and I whipped him. Look, he has a crush on me. I can handle it. Why are you so interested? I'm just curious about how someone with Klingon blood seems to live the life of a tavern monk. And she's like, that's none of your business. And then they find another ship has locked onto their hull, and she's trying to figure out why they didn't detect it. And the tachyon field must have disrupted our senses. And then we're on the hollow deck at the Paris Tavern, and the doctor is singing operas. And they're all just watching him. I think that's, let me just check. Yep. One of the other characters sings with him too at the end. So then we are all in sickbay. And the doctor says their nervous system suffered a trauma from some type of neuroelectronic weapon. It must have been extremely painful. It was, B'Elanna says. Do you know why they attacked you? No idea. They seemed to be trying to communicate with us, but we couldn't understand them. And then they just lifted their weapons. The injuries are treatable. It shouldn't take long, the doctor says. Janeway says, send a message on all subspace bands. I want to find out why my people were attacked. Aye, Captain. And Janeway says, I'll ask Neelix if he knows anything about these people. Doctor, keep me posted. And he's treating the patients. And The doctor's having some memory problems also this episode. So he can't find this and he can't find that. He can't find this and he can't find that. And then she's like, he tells her that I've just had the most unpleasant encounter with a mad woman on the holodeck. Because the woman that I showed you that was singing with him, she says she told him he was lagging behind in the notes. And he said she must have upset me more than I realized. And he dismisses Balana. We'll see what happens. Finally, a group shot. Tuvok, they're in the briefing room. Tuvok says, I've made numerous hails on wideband subspace. The only response has been a single repeating message, and it's like a gobbledygook. And Janeway says, I guess it's a language so unlike ours that the universal translator can't interpret it. Harry, remodulate the transfer. See if we can decipher these sounds. Neelix, what can you tell me? If these people who think I are, I can tell you this is very bad news. I've never actually encountered them. From what I've heard, I'm glad I didn't. Most ships that enter their space are never heard from again. Some have returned with everyone on board dead. They're complete mystery. No one knows their name, how many of them there are, what the culture is like. Just that they really don't want people violating their space. Kim says, if this is any indication of their borders, it's a huge area of space, hundreds of sectors. We were to go around, it would take months. I'd say over 15, Chakotay says. I'm not going to tell this crew we've added another 15 months to this journey. We have to find another option. If we are not to go around their space, the only option is to go through it, Tuvok says. Janeway says precisely. Kim says Tom and Balana hit a sensor net as they cross the border. We'll have to figure we'll run into it when we try to cross it. But there are ways around sensor nets. Chakotay says they can't possibly have enough ships to border to patrol a border this size. We could possibly find an unguarded section. Would it affect your decision if I pointed out that encroaching on the territory of an alien species is prohibited by Starfleet regulations? Tuvok says. We're a long way from Starfleet, Janeway says. And then the doctor contacts the captain. And he says Paris is worse. I'm afraid that Lieutenant Paris suffered greater neurological damage than my initial scan revealed. I'm going to have to perform a motor cortex reconstruction. There's no need to be overly concerned. His condition is not life-threatening. The procedure is relatively simple for a skilled surgeon. Very good, doctor. Keep me informed. So they were in sick bay, and he's gathering up the tools to perform the surgery, and he's singing the opera. And then he realizes he doesn't remember how to do the surgery. So then Cass walks him through how to proceed with the operation. So then Balana comes to sick bay to try and figure out what's going on with the doctor's programming. The EMH database seems to be experiencing cascading overload of some kind. The doctor's memory circuits are deteriorating. We knew the doctor was never designed to be up and running as much as he has been, but I thought you programmed safety buffers so his circuits wouldn't degrade. I did, and installed them, but they're breaking down. My self-diagnostic routines have always indicated that in the event of a cascade failure, I would simply be reinitialized. That would stop the cascade and allow us to reset your database and personality subroutines, but it would restore the original program, reset him to the person he was when we first activated him. In other words, he'd forget everything that happened to him over the past 2 years, right? So how do you feel about that? I can't say I'd like to lose those 2 years, but my primary responsibility is the health and welfare of this crew. So if you have to, you have to. And Kess is like, we can't do that. And, we can't, do that to the doctor. But the doctor says the crew comes first. His first job is to the crew, and if he can't remember how to treat them. So then we're back on the bridge, and Kim says, Chakotay says, excuse me, I think we found a way to get across the border without being detected. I accidentally hung up on myself. Let's hope this doesn't happen again. So where were we? I think we found a way to get across the border without being detected. Let's hear it. Their sensor net uses a series of interlaced tachyon beams. If we adjust our shields to refract those beams around the ship, we can slip across without appearing to have disrupted their net. Not bad, Janeway says. And we found that this area shows no indication of their vessels. We can slide through, go high warp, and be through this narrow section of the territory in 4 days. Good work. Helm set a course. Then Balana is in sick bay working on the doctor's programming, and they have some um glitches as she's working with his program. He comes blind for a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds anyway, but she works on it. So Balana goes to Holodeck 2 and has the doctor in Holodeck 2, and he remembers this place as his place of origin. So she activates the Jupiter station, and when she activates the Jupiter station, she activates Zimmerman. And he's gonna help her fix the doctor. So Zimmerman says, move over, I can fix this better than you can. The doctor mentions the hairline. Zimmerman gets pissed off that he mentioned the hairline, and he does some fiddling. And the Zimmerman's like, how long has he been active? He's been active for 2 years. 2 years? Well, that's the problem. The program was developed for short-term supplemental to your medical staff, 1,500 hours tops. I know, I added data compression buffers to compensate for the additional time, but they're breaking down. This EMH is a highly sophisticated program. You shouldn't go meddling in it. But excuse us, but we are 70 light years away from Earth, and it continues the back and forth give and take. Must have been interesting to do this with the two doctors to show this. Today's technology, they can do this so much faster today and so much more sophisticated. But think about it, this was over 25, 30 years ago, them doing it this way. This was good to showing both guys at the same time. So Balana gets sent back to engineering because they've reached that thing and they need her to reconfigure the ship's shields to the tachyon thing that they talked about previously. What is it? Mr. Kim's refraction pulse. So we go back to the bridge, and what does Tuvok say? A very large vessel is coming towards them quickly, and that's the vessel that's coming towards them quickly. I don't know how well you can see it. Some dust, maybe some powdered sugar sprinkled on a black screen. I don't know how they did it. Maybe a bunch of stars. Maybe a bunch of creatures that would prefer you not to come into their space. Just a thought. They're not ships, they're creatures. Because they're like, I'm not reading any energy signatures, I'm not reading anything. And they're not ships. So they decide to proceed and go forward with the plan. So they get through the net, And she says, "Mr. Paris, what's your recommendation?" And he says, we'll push it to 9.7, warp 9.7 for as long as we can." And she's like, "Go ahead, proceed, hurry up, let's get going. The ships haven't indicated they've seen us yet." So then these two have an argument. Zimmerman's trying to concentrate. The doctor keeps trying to sing. It goes back and forth. It's a give and take for a while. Kes comes in to check on him. The doctor's getting worse. Zimmerman's getting frustrated. Zimmerman tells Kes the opera is eating too much of the doctor's program. It's gotta go. Kes tries to argue, but he needs his medical knowledge. He needs the knowledge of the last 2 years more than he needs his opera. Although, you know. So then we're back on the bridge. What's the status of the ships, Mr. Tuvok? Still in power. They don't seem to have detected us. When I was in high school, I snuck out of the house a couple of times late at night. Had to tiptoe past my parents' bedroom. That's kind of how I feel right now. You sneaked out of your house? Where were you going? I leave that to your imagination, Lieutenant. Can I take a few guesses? Captain, I'm detecting another ship. No part of the swarm. It's been damaged. Propulsion systems are not functional. Drop out of warp and take a look. What are you doing? So this is the ship they see when they drop out of warp, and there is one life sign. All right, so then they transport him to sick bay, and Cass says he's suffering from severe dehydration, damage to the spinal column. There's evidence of trauma to the nervous system, just like we found in Milana and Tom after they were attacked. Can I talk to him? You can try. I'll work on restoring his cranial nerves, but he's so badly injured, I'm not sure it'll help. He's a sick man. This is where sick people come, the doctor says. The doctor's program degradation is getting even worse. So they wake the guy up and she talks to him. Can you tell me what happened? Who attacked your ship? There were thousands of them. Little ships swarmed around my freighter, covered every square matter of the hull. Then they began extracting energy from my ship systems. We had no defense. Then they boarded us. Did they use neuroelectronic weapons? I don't know what they used. It was painful. People screaming, dying. Have you provoked them in any way? We were in their space. That was enough. Captain, the rest of my crew, is there anyone else? No, I'm sorry. You're the only survivor. This woman is trying to regenerate your motor neurons. We come from Miss Line, 5 parsecs from here in the Yellow Dwarf system. If you pass it, will you tell our people? I'll make a point of it. It happened so quickly. His injuries were too severe, Kess says. Oh, and she also tells Janeway that the doctor is getting much, much worse. And Janeway's like, well, I need B'Elanna in engineering right now. As soon as she's finished with this other task, she can come back and try and fix the doctor. So then they run into this other ship, and this little thing comes towards them. The pilot of the fighter has died. We keep going. Mr. Paris, what? Captain, I'm detecting a vessel. It's one of the swarm. It was still attached to the freighter's hull. Red alert, shields at maximum. They're scanning us, Captain. Hail them. I'm getting a response, audio only. Harry, how are you coming with the universal translator? I'm working on it. Let's see if they might be able to understand us. The channel is open. This is Captain Catherine Janeway of the Federation Starship Voyager. We only want to proceed peacefully through this region of space. And all they're hearing is that garbly gook. And getting the general idea is something like too late, should have listened. Report. We've been hit with some kind of polaron burst. The energy expenditures was not high enough to cause any damage. It may have not have been a weapon, Tuvok says. Captain, that little ship is hightailing it out of here. So it scanned us and sent out a polaron burst, caused no damage, and then took off. Something is really weird here. Kim tells the captain that the polaron burst changed the ship. Now, where is it? The energy expenditure was not high enough to cause any damage. It may not have been a weapon. Wait, it's now rotating at 92 gigahertz. That means if anyone wanted to find us, it's a lot easier now. Chakotay says, as far as anyone's sensors are concerned, we are lit up like a Christmas tree. The swarm of ships have powered their engines and turned towards us. They're in pursuit. Now, do what you can, Tom. We have a head start. It might be able to outrun them. Bridge to engineering. How are you coming with that warp, Alana? We need to get out of here yesterday. And the doctor is getting much, 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 much worse. So the swarm is coming after them. They're trying to outrun them. They've caught up with them. They're going to be in weapon range in 5 minutes. What kind of weapons do they have? Tuvok's like, I can't detect anything. Do you have sensors show no weapon signatures at all? They're only 100,000 kilometers away now. Arm all phaser banks. Aye, Captain. Cass, what is it? The doctor's getting worse. He's starting to dematerialize. I'm afraid we're going to lose him completely. I know Balana is busy, but I wondered if Harry could take a look at him. I'm sorry, Cass. We're in the middle of something here, and I need every man at their post. Kim says, Captain, they're only 40,000 kilometers away. Still no weapon signatures. Changing to evasive pattern Gamma 4. So Cass goes to talk to Zimmerman, and she tells him the doctor's program is even worse. So what do you want me to do? I expect you to help. That's what you're programmed to do. I've pointed out over and over again, I'm a diagnostic tool, not an engineer. You have to try these. You're the only one who can help them. Young woman, you don't seem to understand. There are limitations to my programming. I just can't decide to exceed them. The doctor did, so why can't you? You'd better start trying, because I'm not leaving here until we accomplish something. He means a great deal to you, doesn't he? Yes, he does. So start thinking about his memory circuits, his hollow processors, his data matrix. Why are you looking at me like that? You told me you had the same matrix as the doctor. An adaptive heuristic matrix, yes, in order to serve as a diagnostic for the EMH program. Then couldn't your matrix be substituted for his? I hadn't thought of that. I'm not sure, but if it were possible, the same degradation would eventually occur to my matrix. What if yours was grafted into his? If medicine, we sometimes graft portions of a healthy bone into a diseased one. It gives the bone more solidity. So they continue their discussion on that. So I turn myself off again. But this is the swarm of ships coming after Voyager. Kim reports our shield strength just went to 0. How did that happen? Each one of those little ships is emitting an interferometric pulse. They're modulating in the opposition to our shield frequency, completely canceling them out. All right, that's enough. Give them a phaser sweep with the forward array. Don't destroy any of them. Just let them know we're not going to sit here like ducks. Aye, Captain, what was that? The interferometric pulses they're emitting. They reflected the energy of their phasers right back to us. Anything we fire is going to attack us instead of them. What about a 4-ton torpedo? Since our shield tank is non-existent, I wouldn't recommend it, Tuvok says. They're only 7,000 kilometers away and still coming, Paris says. I would like to point out one more time, we're on the bridge of the Enterprise. Did Next Generation ever get dark like this? We could always see what was going on in the Next Generation's bridge, right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. But it's dark. Why is it dark? I do not remember Next Generation ever going dark on the bridge. Other places, yes, caves, whatever. But not on the bridge. And we're always going dark on the bridge. What is wrong with this? So then we're back in sick bay, and Zimmerman is trying to fix the doctor. Why is there security in sick bay? It's only Cass. Why do we need security in sick bay? So I don't know how well this translates, but all the ships are landing on top of Voyager. Now, didn't this, it either is going to occur later or it happened on Next Gen, where living creatures attacked Voyager, attacked the Enterprise because they were sucking off the energy. They needed the energy from the ship to survive or something like that. That's what just is reminding me of that episode. So then Paris says, Captain, they're right on top of us. I can't shake them. They are clamping onto a hull. They're starting to drain our systems. I've got a pattern on the interferic pulses. It's a lattice connecting all the ships to each other. All right, here's what we're going to do. Turn those pulses back at them, Tuvok. Lock phasers on their nearest ship. If we can destroy one of them, there's every chance the interferic pulse that links them together will cause a chain reaction. But the phaser fire will reflect back towards us. Harry, modulate our shields to an inverse harmonic of the pulse. That should allow phasers to hit the ship. Phasers are locked on target. Captain, do it, Harry. The swarm of ships has been disbanded, Captain. They're moving away. Shields are back. Good work, everyone. Now let's get out of here. She activates the doctor. He's back to himself and back to the self he was in episode 1 or 2. And she hugs him, and he's like, you allow this frivolous use of your EMH, and he tries to diagnose or whatever. And I'm wondering, we'll check it out in the next episode, but I'm pretty sure the doctor is the doctor in the next episode, and they never even refer back to this episode, that he's his same old self again. And that is the end of the episode. And that is the end of this disc. We got to move on to the next disc. And I was going to say that hopefully the episodes will be in order, but I know I looked ahead and they are not in order either then. So I hope you would stay tuned. I hope you would check out If Then later this afternoon. I hope you would check out our JD Rob Saturdays, Unboxing Sundays, and Flashback Mondays, and of course my daily book reviews. And every night at 7:45 on the D. Louise Book Series channel, we're talking about Diana Gabaldon's Echo in the Bone, written in my own heart's blood. Go tell the bees that I am gone. And or when all of that is finished, we'll start with Outlander. I originally started in the middle of Echo of Bone because that was where the season 7 disc ended, and I had finished a binge read, and I proceeded from there forwards. And maybe the new book will come out, and we'll be able to do the new book instead, book 10. Fingers crossed. Have a good one.